art of pairing. A unique, tasty journey with Michelin star chef Fabrizio. He sets off to create that perfect pairing of K-food, inspired by the people he meets across Korea. A delightful match of seasonal flavors and traditional liquor. Indulge in K-food through a special dining experience.
Simply K-pop!
Simply K-pop. Bringing artists and fans together through music. A festival of captivating performances and live sounds. Dive into the real rhythm of K-pop that's taken the world by storm. A weekly show that connects the world on one stage. Simply K-pop.
Held its first debate over the weekend.
The economy is expected to expand 2.5% this year.
Boosting Korea's ties with its global partners on the sidelines of the Status UN summit.
A massive drone attack on Ukraine overnight on Monday and Tuesday.
Arirang.
여러분 반갑습니다. I'm Kwon So-hwa and this is K-Culture Dive. Join us in taking a deep dive into the heart of Korean culture, from K-entertainment to AI news, K-culture and photos. And for our Hallyu People segment, we invite Edgar Award-winning author Hur June into the studio. And without further ado, let's dive in. Joining us on today's show is Bella Kim. Hello, Bella.
Hi, Soa, and hello to our K-Culture Dive viewers. I'm Bella Kim, filling in for Walter today, here to co-host and give you guys the latest in K-Entertainment.
All right, let's kick off with K-Enter News. Bella, I almost said Walter.
Bella today.
So we're going to kick off with a Korean film that's going to the Oscars.
Right. Director Lee Chang-dong's latest film, A Possible Love or 가능한 사랑 in Korean, has been selected as South Korea's official entry for next year's Academy Awards. The Korean Film Council announced on Tuesday that Possible Love will represent Korea in the Best International Feature Film category at the 99th Academy Awards. The council praised the film for its high level of completion, the director's clear message, and its outstanding visual style. Possible Love follows two couples who come face to face with different ways of life and hidden desires. It stars 설경구, 전도연, 조여정, and 조인성. The film will have its world premiere in the competition section of this year's Venice International Film Festival, which is set to run from September 2nd to 12th. Possible Love will hit select theaters in Korea on September 23rd, followed by its release on Netflix on November 6th.
So congratulations on the selection.
Right.
Now we're going to continue with another Korean film that premiered to the public today, right?
It's 경주기행, The Journey to Gyeongju, is hitting Korean theaters today, Wednesday, along with its soundtrack and screenplay book. The film follows a mom and her daughters on a revenge trip to Gyeongju in Gyeongsang-buk-do province. The film combines comedy, thriller, and drama. Along with the film, its official soundtrack will be released today at 6 p.m. The album was produced by music director Kim Hae-won, who created a distinctive sound that captures the film's unique mix of genres. In addition, a screenplay book is out to give fans a closer look at the film's detailed settings, dialogue, and characters. It allows readers to revisit the richly layered world and the characters' complex emotional journeys that director Kim Mi-jo has crafted. The Journey to Gyeongju is out in theaters now, so make sure to check it out.
I am especially excited about this one because it already received early word of mouth at international film festivals.
Right.
And we're going to continue with K-pop, Bella, and again, BTS. But you know what's interesting is this week it seems like we're talking about news coming from very different countries every day, right?
Oh, yes, definitely related to BTS. This time it's from France. BTS have added another major achievement in France, earning their 10th gold certification for their latest single. According to France's National Syndicate of Phonographic Publishing, BTS's Swim from their 5th full-length album Arirang has received gold certification. In France, gold certification is awarded to a song that reaches the equivalent of 15 million streams based on a combination of streaming, downloads, and physical sales. This marks BTS's 10th gold certified single in France, following hits such as Dynamite, Butter, Boy with Love, and Fake Love. Swim reached the certification mark in about 5 months, making it BTS's second fastest song to earn a gold certification after Dynamite. Meanwhile, BTS are currently on their Arirang World Tour. They will meet their fans in Chicago this weekend before heading to Los Angeles in September.
All right, thank you very much for those updates, Bella, and stick around.
Will do.
And now time to go over to our AI anchor Arirang for more on the culture front. Arirang.
Thanks, Soa. Here's your AI guide to the latest cultural headlines from Korea. Let's begin with our top story. More than 2 million foreign tourists visited South Korea last month. According to the Korea Tourism Organization, 2.09 million foreign visitors arrived in July, up about 21% from a year earlier and 44% above the pre-pandemic level recorded in July 2019. Chinese tourists topped the list at 777,000, followed by visitors from Japan, Taiwan, the US, and Hong Kong, in that order. The cumulative number of foreign visitors in the first 7 months of the year reached 12.8 million, up over 21% year-on-year. South Korea's southernmost Jeju Island has topped the global ranking for rental car travel. According to global travel platform Trip.com, Rental car bookings in Jeju jumped 148% on year in the 12 months through July, the highest among destinations worldwide. Major Japanese tourist destinations, including Tokyo, Okinawa, Sapporo, and Fukuoka, followed. The surge was driven by growing demand for self-driving road trips, as both domestic and international travelers seek to explore smaller towns and less visited areas. Global influencers generated around 900 pieces of content promoting Korea's regional food and tourism through a project held in June. Organized by the Korea Tourism Organization, the K-Local Food Hunters 33 project brought together 33 influencers from 13 countries to experience local specialties and major attractions across the Gangwon, Jeolla, and Gyeongsang regions. Their posts on Instagram, TikTok, Seohwangshu, and YouTube garnered a combined 10 million views. The KTO plans to use the content in events on its Visit Korea platform to further promote K-food and regional tourism. That's all from me. Turning now to a quick look at more K-culture stories making headlines today.
A single photo at a time, we take a closer look at culture in Korea. This is K-Culture in Photos. Hwajangpoom, that's the Korean word for cosmetics, and these days, it's a word many visitors to Korea are becoming very familiar with. Take a look at this photo shared on social media. These tourists came to Korea and went on a serious K-beauty shopping spree, filling their bags with Korean beauty products. And it's not just something tourists are enjoying while they are here. Korean cosmetics have become popular around the world, from colorful makeup and cushion foundations to skincare and even hair care products. With so many choices and new products constantly hitting the shelves, K-beauty has become much more than a shopping souvenir. For many people, it's now a beauty trend worth bringing home. Now, what do you think she's doing? She's getting a personal color analysis at a beauty expo held at DDP in Seoul. The expo brought together all kinds of beauty brands and products, from skincare and makeup to hair and beauty devices. Visitors could explore the latest trends, try products for themselves, and even get personalized beauty advice. And what really caught many people's eyes was the number of international visitors taking part. They weren't just looking around, they were carefully exploring the products, trying them, and learning more about Korean beauty. And the K-beauty buzz doesn't stop in Korea. Look at this. This is an Olive Young store in the US. And honestly, if you didn't know where you are, you might think you were looking at a store in Korea. It's packed with shoppers. And wait, what's with this long line outside? Yep, that's a line just to get into Olive Young. Some shoppers were even waiting before the store opened. After all that waiting, we hope they had a great time discovering their favorite Korean beauty products and left with a few new favorites in their shopping bags. What do you get when thousands of people from around the world line up at the starting point? A race where age, gender, and nationality don't matter, just a love of sport. These are scenes from the World Masters Athletic Championships in Daegu, where athletes of all ages and backgrounds have come together to compete. From long jumps sending sand flying to high jumps reaching for the sky and sprinters pushing themselves to the limit, every moment shows incredible energy and determination. Some of the most inspiring athletes are the ones who have been competing for decades. Look at their faces. Their expressions are as fierce and energetic as the younger competitors. They're proving that passion for sport doesn't come with an age limit. And from the track in Daegu, let's head to the water in Busan. Here, teams from around the world are taking on a very different kind of challenge, dragon boat racing. With everyone pedaling in perfect rhythm, these boats cut through the water as teams race toward the finish line. Different sports at different cities, but the same spirit of challenge, teamwork, and fun. Wait, is this a new fashion trend? These plastic shoe covers are actually a pretty practical way to keep your sneakers dry when a sudden rainstorm hits. And look at this, they are actually sold as a product. Not only do they protect your favorite shoes from the rain and puddles, but some designs are pretty stylish too. And sometimes you just have to make the best of a rainy day. These two students may not have had an umbrella, but they seem to be having fun with their rather creative solution. Maybe this is one way to turn an unexpected downpour into a little rainy day adventure. Everyday life in Korea is full of unexpected, exciting, and sometimes even surprising moments.
Her mystery novels set in Korea's Joseon dynasty have captivated readers around the world. Korean-Canadian author Hur June, or Hur June in Korean, won the 2023 Edgar Award for Best Young Adult for her novel The Red Palace, or 붉은 궁. Through her books, she has been introducing Korea's history and culture to readers around the world. And today, we're meeting author Hur June here in the studio. Welcome, June.
Hi, June.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm so honored.
We are very honored to have you here with us today, June. So first and foremost, could you say hello to our viewers, introduce yourself maybe a little bit, and also what have you been up to in Korea right now?
Yes. Hi, my name is June, and I am just someone who is obsessed with Korean historical fiction, and I know there are many people who love Korean history and Korean culture in general, and so yeah, like my books, I always like to talk of my books as a Korean drama in book form.
A Korean drama in book form. I love that. So as I mentioned before, June, you won the 2023 Edgar Award for Best Young Adult, and that's for your book, The Red Palace. I think you also have it there today with us. So yes, could you briefly introduce your novel?
So The Red Palace, it's basically about a palace nurse, an 의녀, and she teams up with a 종사관, and that is like an inspector, police inspector, to solve a string of grisly murders. And this mystery centers on the history of Prince Sado, Seja. So that's kind of the history that I explore with the mystery.
Okay.
Wow. So you have written several mystery stories, and they're all kind of set in Joseon dynasty, including, of course, the Red Palace over there. So among all the different periods in Korean history, what's your reason behind choosing specifically Joseon dynasty as your setting?
So the easy, straightforward answer is I grew up watching a lot of historical K-dramas, 사극, and some of my favorite dramas were like 동의 and 대장금. And when I was watching these shows in Toronto, because I grew up in Toronto, in my brain it didn't click that this is actually based on real history. I just watched it and I was like, oh, it felt almost like a fantasy to me as a Canadian kid. And so one day when I was an adult, I realized actually all the historical K-dramas that I grew up watching and loving, they're actually based on real history. And it's so obvious to a lot of people, but for me, a kid who grew up with very little exposure to Korean history, I didn't make that connection until later on. And so because I grew up loving Joseon dramas, that was the history that I really wanted to explore. And so every book I write, I kind of call my history class. So it's like for the 붉은 궁, the Red Palace, I was interested in Sado Seja, Prince Sado. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to write a book based on this historical background. So I have an excuse to research, but also get paid for a living. And they're all mysteries because to me, history, as a kyopo, as a diaspora Korean, Korean history is like a mystery, and so I use mystery as a vehicle to explore Korea's past.
That's fascinating. And just quickly for our international viewers, the Joseon dynasty would be one of the kingdom dynasties starting in 1392, I guess, and lasting for more than 500 years. So, but I mean, June, you're researching the past and crafting fiction, so it must be quite difficult to, incorporate Korea's history and culture into these fictional stories. So you did mention that you've got a good excuse to make that research. So how does your research proceed? I mean, do you refer to books or how does it work?
So what I begin with is when I begin researching, I kind of start with like a history 101. So I want to get the general gist of the historical period I'm studying about. And there's a lot of so early on, when my Korean wasn't as good, I relied a lot on the works of Korean American scholars. There's a famous scholar, her name is Jahyun Habush, and she's translated a lot of primary Korean sources, but also she's written on the Joseon period a lot. And so I rely on her books a lot, and because I write crime, one of my favorite books is Wrongful Deaths, and this book kind of explores how the legal system was like in the Joseon period. And then my absolutely favorite historical resource is the Epistolary Korea. So there are a whole bunch of letters written in the Joseon dynasty translated into English. And so I find that reading letters by Koreans, it really captures, what was it like, life in Korea in the Joseon period. But at the end of the day, I'm a diaspora Korean, and I understand that, no matter how much I research, like, there will always be a gap in my understanding. And so when I was first writing my books, I was very insecure about that, and I felt very scared. I remember when I wrote my first book, I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope Korea never finds my book, because like, what if I'm doing this all wrong, even though I'm doing my best, right? So there was that fear, but I remember once when I wrote my second book, The Science of Bones, and it got translated into, I think, 숲 속에 사라진 소녀들. When I wrote that book, there was just so much anxiety, and then I called my mom once, and then I was like, Oma, like, I will never be able to write a fiction like a Korean who is born and raised and educated in history. And so I had such insecurity about that. But then my mom is like, oh, when you speak in Korean, you speak with an accent. But she's like, accents are beautiful. They bring perspective and they bring an extra story to it. And so I think I realized, what, like, I am a diaspora Korean. There are gaps in my understanding, and I'll do my best, but I'll never write like a Korean raised and educated, and that's okay, because the table for stories is wide, and after my books got translated, I realized there is a place for me at the table, and the way that Korea has received my work felt like a very warm welcoming. So yeah, that's the story.
Wow. We are so happy that Korea found your books and that we now can read it in Korean as well here.
Definitely. And your story definitely connects with me as well, because you said you're from Toronto, you were born in Korea, and I was actually born in Korea and raised in Toronto or Canada as well. So I'm very in connection with you. But I want to ask you, how does kind of, your background and identity as Korean Canadian influence your writing?
Yeah, so for most of my life, I was actually very interested in British history. And so I wrote a lot of British historicals. And so I think the way I understand literature and the way I want to convey a story has been shaped by the Western literature that I've read. And when I went to the University of Toronto, I majored in history. And the way history is kind of how the way you see and approach history in the West, I feel like it's probably different than Korea. I don't know, because I've never studied history here. But in the West, like, we focused a lot, at least in my classes, we focused a lot on the lives of women. And there were a lot of theories and a lot of tools that I received to explore, how did women live back then? And I think as a Korean myself, but I didn't spend most of my life in Korea. So I always wondered, like, what would it be like if I lived in the Chosun Shide. And so I think because of my Western education, but just as a woman in general, the way I write, it's very shaped in a way where I'm focused on what was it like for women back in Chosun Shide. And then as a Korean Canadian, I'm looking at Korean history from afar. And so I kind of see it as like, you know, when you're living in your house all your life, it becomes you're very used to it, right? But when I feel like I'm a guest, and I'm just like, oh wow, look at this portrait. Oh my gosh, your couch, your design is amazing. Like, you know, who's your designer? So there's like, it's this new perspective I feel like that I can bring to the table. So everything is so new to me. And so I think my stories are shaped by that kind of like, ooh, so interesting.
And I mean, many international readers probably learn about Joseon dynasty through your books, encounter about it for the first time. So I think that also brings a bit of responsibility. And I guess that was why you were talking about that insecurity at the beginning. But what do you want readers to take away from your books?
So as I'm studying about the Joseon period, on one side, I feel like it is a mirror where I'm learning so much about myself. But at the same time, I've studied a lot of histories around the world, and I find that at the end of the day, humans are humans. We all want love. We all want a place to belong. We all want a decent life where we're not being oppressed. So I feel like there's a commonality in every history you explore around the world. And so what I want to bring to the table with my books is just like the importance of kindness and justice, and that teen girls who grew up in a time when they're expected to just stay at home, like they have the right to pursue justice as well. So that's, yeah, like for me, it's always about like, you know, life is hard, let's be a bit kind to each other, and that's always the heart of all my stories.
Right. And now we want to talk about the Silence of Bones, that book that you just touched upon.
Yes.
잃어버린 이름들의 낙원 in Korean. It was actually recently translated into Korean, right? So for people who haven't read yet, could you please briefly introduce the book and also what it's about?
Yes. So 잃어버린 이름들의 낙원. So it is about, the heroine is a Tamo, and she is basically Tamo is like a police servant girl who serves in the police bureau. And there's also a K-drama called Tamo from many years ago that was really famous. But yeah, the protagonist is a Tamo, and she teams up with the police inspector to solve crime, and the background. And then one of the victims is actually a Catholic. And this was during a time when there was a lot of tension between traditional Confucianism and Catholicism. And so this book kind of explores that tension. So the historical background of 잃어버린, I can't even, 이름들의 낙원 is the 신유박해 of 1801.
And 잃어버린 이름들의 낙원's English original title would be The Silence of Bones, right? And June, so far you've explored the stories of various female protagonists on the backdrop of the Joseon dynasty. Would there be any other maybe parts of the past or maybe other figures that I would like to explore in the future?
So this is a fun question because it was something I've wanted to explore for so long, but I just didn't know how. So basically, I kind of shared I was really interested in British history, and I actually fell in love with novels because my dad introduced me to Pride and Prejudice, and so I was obsessed with Pride and Prejudice. I love Jane Austen. Jane Austen is the reason why I began writing. But then when I switched over to writing Joseon Dynasty era books, I was always like, I'm writing these books, but I really miss the world of Jane Austen. But I didn't want to leave Joseon to go to Regency era England. But then one day I was like, what about if I let the two worlds just collide? And so in a sense, if you think of all the K-dramas, historical K-dramas, it kind of is like Pride and Prejudice in Joseon. And so when I was writing my Pride and Prejudice inspired historical, I had to find a way to write 오만과 편견, Pride and Prejudice, but also introduce something new. And so I think I have a copy. So this is like my newest book, Behind Five Willows. And I call it Pride and Prejudice meets You've Got Mail. And the historical backdrop that I explore is the 문체반장, which is it was a censorship by King Jeongjo on prose and literature. And so yeah, that was actually what I really wanted to write, and then I ended up writing it.
Wow. You know, the moment you mentioned British history, I was actually thinking of wouldn't it be great if we could have like British and Korean history combined and then maybe make it into a K-drama later in the books as well? If any
Please
people is anyone working in production right now?
There's like parallels, so many parallels. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, June, for joining us today on the show. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for sharing a story and the story about your stories. It was a pleasure. Thank you
so much.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back here tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching and your interest in everything K-culture. Please tune in again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Korea time. Keep diving.
오늘은 대한민국 임시정부를 이끌었던 김구 선생님의 백범일지를 살펴볼 거예요. 그분이 평생을 바쳐 지키려 했던
한없이 가지고 싶은 것은 높은 문화의 힘입니다. 문화의 힘은 우리 자신을 행복하게 하고 나아가서 남에게 행복을 주기 때문입니다. 나는 우리나라가 세계에서 가장 아름다운 나라가 되기를 원합니다.